What would happen if General Grievous hit on Kashyyyk instead of Utapau? The story begins in the Jedi Temple, where the Council is discussing the war. Yoda informs the Council that a clone intelligence unit discovered that Grievous is hiding on Kashyyyk. Yoda tells the Council that a good relation with the Wookiees he has, and that he will take a battalion of clones to Kashyyyk to help end the assault on the Wookiees and bring the war to an end by killing Grievous. Windu concludes the meeting, wishing everyone luck. Obi-Wan can feel a disturbance in Anakin. He's been different this couple of days. Obi-Wan's beginning to worry about his old friend and promises himself he'll be there for him no matter what. That rainy afternoon, Chancellor Palpatine invites Anakin to his quarters to discuss why he wasn't chosen to track down Grievous like he recommended. Anakin explains that he completely understands that a master was needed with more experience. Plus, Yoda has a very good relationship with the Wookiees, so he was obviously the best choice. That angers Palpatine. His intention by revealing Grievous's location on Kashyyyk was to get rid of Obi-Wan for some time, so he could turn Anakin to the dark side. Palpatine decides to continue his plans despite the presence of Master Kenobi. And all the way on Kashyyyk, Yoda is informed by the Delta Squad that they came into contact with General Grievous, and that he's hiding in the lush forests on the northeast side of the continent. He's heavily guarded with platoons of Magna Guards and other clankers. Even Geonosian elites have gathered in the outpost to ensure the general remains unharmed. A clone battalion patrolling near the outpost informs the Grand Master that Master Luminara is already on the way to engage the general. Yoda requests a transport to be ready immediately and prepares for an attack. And all the way on Coruscant, Anakin has trouble sleeping. He's worried about Padme. He wishes he could save her. He'd do anything for her. And here he is in his temple chamber, distant from all the people he cares the most about. This was all too much for Anakin. Ahsoka was engaging Grievous, and Padme was dying, and he couldn't do anything about it. He isn't even a Jedi Master. He cannot access the restrictive Jedi archives where he might be able to find more information about this Darth Plagueis. But even then, the Jedi probably don't know anything about this mythical being. And then the doors open, revealing a concerned face of his master. Anakin tells Obi-Wan that he could inform him before he entered his private quarters. But although Anakin expected an ironic comeback like always, all he got was a concerned look. Obi-Wan told Anakin that he's worried about him. He never saw him like this. So concerned, so distant. Anakin just shook it off, telling Obi-Wan that he's all right. Anakin gave him a light smile, thanking his master for his concern, but he's fine. He's just been frustrated with the Council. Obi-Wan gives Anakin a few words of encouragement before leaving. In that moment, Anakin really does feel better. He's grateful for his master and for Ahsoka and Padme, but he cannot act on his impulses. The war has changed him. He cannot let his feelings consume him. And all the way back on Kashyyyk, Yoda meets with the famous Delta Squad. They inform Yoda that Master Luminara has already engaged General Grievous. This was concerning. Luminara was extremely powerful, but even she might struggle against that monster. Yoda spoke with the most urgent tone, telling Delta to prepare an assault so he can get to Grievous to end this war. The plan was constructed quickly. A small platoon of remaining clones would cause a distraction, while Delta and Yoda advanced in the weakest spot of the outpost, slicing their way all the way to the general. And that's how it was. Delta and Yoda advanced through the hallways like a perfect killing machine, slicing and destroying everything in the drone of them like an unstoppable record. And when they finally made their way through kilometers of vulture droids, droidicas, Magna Guards, and more, they finally made their way to the central landing pad, surrounded by huge walls, where General Grievous was standing with Luminara in his robotic arms. She wasn't moving. All Yoda could see was her dimly lit face. He couldn't make out her eyes, her nose. All he saw was a big green-brown blob where her face used to be. Grievous violently threw her body on the floor, igniting his lightsabers. Delta Squad dealt with the Magna Guard, and Yoda ignited his green blade. Grievous told Yoda that he'll enjoy adding a lightsaber of the Jedi Grandmaster to his collection, and that he will pay for the loss of Count Dooku. Yoda lunged at Grievous. Grievous's attacks were fast, but Yoda was faster. He countered Grievous's attacks with inhuman precision, lunging at him with his brutal swings. Yoda leaped over Grievous, chopping both of his legs off. Grievous screamed in agony, spinning his blades like a broken clanker, and Yoda inflicted the final blow. The area felt silent for a second for Yoda before he heard screaming. Scorch was applying Bacta shots to Luminara. Fixer informed Yoda that her condition is worsening, but they can save her. Yoda tells them to carry her. He'll deal with the droids. They have to get her to a medic. And on Coruscant, Anakin was driving back to the Jedi Temple. It was a cloudy afternoon. He has to inform Jedi about Palpatine being a Sith. But who does he tell? Yoda would probably be the best person, but he's on Kashyyyk. Maybe Mace? Well, no, he's a jerk. Obi-Wan. He has to tell Obi-Wan. He'll know what to do. And finally, inside the Jedi Temple, Anakin informed Obi-Wan of what Palpatine told him. Obi-Wan said that this is most concerning. They need to inform as many council members as they can. Anakin said that there's no time. So they rushed to Master Windu. Obi-Wan told him that Palpatine is a Sith Lord. Mace couldn't believe it. The Sith Lord was in front of their noses this entire time. And finally, Mace brought up the idea of assembling a team of all council members to confront Sidious, except Anakin. Anakin's jaw tightened. And then Obi-Wan spoke, informing Mace that Anakin is the chosen one. He has to go with them, but Mace wouldn't have it. He insisted Skywalker stay behind. He's relentless, arrogant, and most of all, Windu just doesn't like him. Anakin wanted to argue with Mace, but Obi-Wan just told him that here's no time. He's proud of him, but there's no time for arguing. Mace made his decision. They need to act now. And finally, Anakin agreed to stay in the council chambers. So Kenobi, Windu, Kolar, Fisto, and Teen went to confront Palpatine. They forced their way through the security and got into Palpatine's private quarters. Mace told Palpatine that he's under arrest. Palpatine only said that it's treason then, before he lunged forward, spinning with inhuman speed, initiating his Force scream. The Jedi were stunned and Palpatine came crashing down on them, almost immediately killing Kolar and Teen. Kit Fisto was fast, but Palpatine was faster. Fisto could not block Palpatine's attacks. But before Palpatine could strike him down, Obi-Wan intervened, blocking Palpatine attacks, and so they all got ready on the hallway together to strike Palpatine down. The fight continued, but then Fisto made a mistake again, and Palpatine struck him down. Obi-Wan couldn't believe his eyes. He was trying his best, but Palpatine was too fast. Every second felt like an hour. Obi-Wan couldn't believe he wasn't hit down yet. He just focused and let his instincts guide him. But then, the fight started to turn. They emerged in an open space again, but Obi-Wan's strength was fading. Back in the council chambers, Anakin was crying. He'll lose Padme, one thing he cannot live without. At that moment, Anakin made the decision. He didn't care what Mace or Obi-Wan said. He rushed to the nearest speeder he could find and took off. Every second felt like an hour. On the floor were bodies of all the fallen Jedi, and Anakin ran even faster now. He saw Mace dueling Palpatine, and then something in a corner of his vision caught his attention. And then he saw it. It was his master, lying on the floor. Anakin rushed to Obi-Wan. He said he'd get him out of there, but Obi-Wan refused, saying it's too late for him. Obi-Wan said that he's proud of Anakin and that he's the chosen one. He gave him his lightsaber, and Anakin turned, enraged, igniting both lightsabers. Palpatine's strength was also fading. He was fighting with two lightsabers now, but Mace was good. Wapad was doing wonders. Anakin joined in, hitting with cold, calculated blows. The tights were turning again. Palpatine was now losing. He desperately tried to destroy his enemies with a blast of Force lightning, but Mace was ready, countering it with his lightsaber. Palpatine started to get extremely tired. When the room felt silent again, he saw Anakin lying in the corner, and he couldn't help but smile. He lunged at Windu with one final push, but he was tired. He managed to inflict a deep blow on his forearm, and Windu screamed in agony. But the fight wasn't over yet. Palpatine lunged at Windu, knocking him to the floor. He smiled and turned on his communicator in the center of the room, and he executed Order 66. And all the way on Kashyyyk, Yoda felt the sudden disturbance in the Force. They almost made it out of the CIS base, but he felt it. Hundreds of Jedi killed all around the galaxy, including Luminara Unduli. He turned around looking at Delta's. Sev was kneeling beside Luminara, his vibroblade deep in her throat. Yoda just ignited his lightsaber, and Delta fired. The fight was brutal. Yoda spun around the small corridor, but Delta was good. Yoda almost could believe it. He needed almost 10 seconds to take them all down. He looked at Luminara in disbelief, her head squashed and her neck barely still connected to the rest of the body. And on Coruscant, Palpatine smiled, feeling all the deaths around the galaxy. But then something pushed him out the window. Anakin kicked him as hard as he could. Palpatine was exhausted. He landed hundreds of meters lower and broke his foot in the process. He looked up to see a terrifying scene. Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One, leapt on him, and Palpatine ignited his saber. But he couldn't. He was nothing but an old man now. His vision was getting blurry. His lungs are giving out. Anakin aimed the lightsaber at him, saying he has lost. Palpatine, extremely exhausted, just said, "Good, strike me down." But Anakin didn't. He grabbed Palpatine and handcuffed him. Anakin said he'll have a fair trial. It is only right. At that point, Yoda was already going towards Kamino. On Kamino, he requested a meeting with Lama Su. Lama Su spoke first, telling Yoda he heard what happened to the Jedi, and that he thought that the chips were only in case of rogue Jedi needing to be put down, and that he didn't know it was to be used to induce a mass genocide. Yoda just said that it's too late now, and that inhibitor chips need to be shut down immediately. It took some time, but it was done. By the new law, all clones had to have their inhibitor chips removed. The war wasn't over though. The Senate was corrupt, and there were many followers of Palpatine, such as Sly Moore and Mas Amedda. But eventually the Jedi Order and Republic would flourish once again. Maul was arrested, and Luke and Leia were born without any complications. The Senate was still full of bureaucrats and corruption, but new Chancellor Bail Organa worked hard to make the Republic great once again.